Oh, here we go. The MMA Outsiders is live. The UFC 326 reaction. Holloway versus Oliveira, the BMF. Depending on who you ask, might not be the best BMF fight, but dominant performance from Charles Oliveira. He is the new BMF champion. It is one of those cards that was kind of, I don't know. It was different. I'm feeling good. It was a good night of fights for the most part. I think it might have been the environment I was in. It was a good time. But man, the results of tonight were not the best. We had a lot of decisions, a lot of kind of fights that I don't want to say. I'll say unmemorable is a lot of these fights. They weren't the best, but we had two great knockouts. We had a couple good performances on here. One of the best dominating performances in a title fight we've seen since maybe UFC 319. We'll go over that. We may or may not have Zan and Thomas come in here at some point, but you're rocking and rolling with me right now. So, what I'm going to pull up here is the Tapology, good old trusty dusty UFC 326. No, get these ads out of here. What are we doing? Oh, maybe we can't. It's all right. What I do know is the first fight of the night started off with a big upset. We had Luke Fernandez taking on Rodolfo Bellato. Luke Fernandez was undefeated, had a bunch of finishes, had a 16-second knockout on Dana White's Contender Series this past season, and he's taking on King Blockhead, and he just couldn't do it. Luke Fernandez couldn't get the job done. Rafael Bellato ended up, after Luke Fernandez looked good for about the first 2 minutes, he ended up getting clipped by a nice left hook, tight in the clinch almost, put Fernandez down, grounded, pounded him out, and there was a huge, huge victory for Rodolfo Bellato. He's one of the few fighters in the UFC who has a victory, who has a loss, who has a no contest, who has a disqualification. This guy, I think he has a draw. This guy's awesome. But what we're doing here is that big upset to start tonight. And with that, I kind of got the vibe of what was happening. In the next fight of the night, it was another weird performance. Like we were saying on the pre-show, Dayar Nergoze, big time tick. He's a southpaw. He's wiping, and he wipes the right side of his face with his left hand. He wipes his eye, and it's really odd. But he was taking a lot less this fight, and Rafael Tobias didn't do enough. He started grappling a little bit. He landed a couple big shots, but Dayar Nergoze was able to get the job done, dominated. Basically, I believe he won 30-27. But man, he just landed the bigger shots. He was in control. He was leading the dance. Dayar Nergoze gets the victory, starting off 0-2. The worst picks of Jack Gold MMA so far this year. We were 50-14 heading into this, and I think we're 55-21 now. Not ideal. 21. Not ideal at all. Next up, Suma Darji. I changed my pick. We were 1-2. Suma Darji dominated this fight. He was almost a little too conservative. I think he could have gotten the finish if he wanted to, especially with seeing what he did at the end of the third round. He opened up a little bit, started letting loose, piecing up Jesus Aguilar, and he got the 30-27 unanimous decision, pieced him up, and it was a good time. It was a good fight. See, the first three fights of the night were entertaining enough. You might hear some barking here. My neighbor's getting home. Clover, shout out. She's barking in the front. My boy Tyson, he's snoring over in the left. But snoring is what happened for the rest of these fights here. Oh boy, Tapology's here. That's what I'm talking about. After these three fights, though, it kind of slowed down a bit. Naim Jargal, Tumen Dembarel beat my lock of the night. Cody Durden making me 1-3. By far the worst start of the year. Cody Durden, man. I don't know what happened. Another weird fight with the line movement. He went from plus 120 to plus 175 today. So I don't know what was going on there. Tumen Dembélé looked pretty good. However, teach this guy the rules. This guy's big time cheat. Big time. Not a fan. Listen, no race involved. But Tumen Dembélé is Xiao Long cheating their asses off tonight. But anyway, good victory for Naim Jargal. He dominated 30-27, maybe 29-28. Thomas Albano, I know he took a nasty spill in his office. We're hoping he's okay. But you are all good. Take your time, my friend. All will be chilling. But the victory so far on the night. Hey, the Eastern guys did very well. We had Rodolfo Bellato. We had Dyer Nergoze, Eastern man. Sumadarji, Eastern man. Tumen Dembélé, Eastern man. Xiao Long. We'll get there. But the next fight of the night, listen, Alberto Montez might be legit. Alberto Montez has a disgusting anaconda. Ricky Tercio started the fight doing his typical shit, stomping at him, going, wah, wah, wah. But everything Alberto Montez was throwing was clean, was hard, and seemed to be landing. And by the time it got to the corner after round one, Tercios looked like he was like, oh, fuck. And shot a takedown early, got wrapped up in the anaconda. Montez put him out in like 20 seconds. It was gross. After 2 years, he finally makes his debut. Good for Alberto Montez. A good performance. So far, I'd give it a B on this fight to Bellato Fernandez. I give it a C. Nergoze versus Tobias. Good enough. I think Madarji Aguilar, I'll give it like a C+. Temin Dembélé versus Cody Durden, I'll give like a C-. Due to all the cheating. Alberto Montez, I'll give that performance an A-. I think it was very good. Oh, but here, my Fond du Lac brother, my Fox Valley killer, Lockjaw, he got a victory by split decision over Cody Brundage. I scored it 2-1 for Cody Brundage. I don't know. I was thrilled that Dante got the victory, but man, the best way I can describe it, from a fat, he's got some fat guy tendencies he's really got to fix. Those locking the legs out. Cody Brundage was jabbing his face off rounds 2 and 3, and I did not like that at all. But Dante Johnson, it was a good fight. I could see him getting it 2-1. He got a 2-1 split decision. But man, if I'm being honest, unbiased, I love Dante. I'm pumped he got a win. That may have been a D fight. This was the start of the snooze. Because next up we had Cody Garbrandt versus Long Zhao, the longest fight of all time. And okay, I've had a great night. I'm pretty zenned out if you can't tell. I had a great time, but this fight might rile me up a bit because Cody Garbrandt did not win this fight. Hang the gloves up. However, Long Zhao kicked Cody Garbrandt in the nuts 3 times. And the first one was bad. And then the second one was immediately after. And it was so bad that Cody Garbrandt was throwing up in a bucket. Now, and this was in the third round. Long Zhao won rounds 1 and 2, in my opinion. They gave Cody Garbrandt round 1. He dropped Long Zhao with an elbow. It was the only thing he did. Long Zhao tripled up the strike, but I could see it because he did the most damage. He dropped him. Long Zhao landed about 50 inside low kicks. I think that won him rounds 1 and 2. If you watch the fight, it was slow and boring. But round 3, Long Zhao started every time he got hit, he'd go. And it was annoying. Even the people I were with were like, what the hell is this guy doing? Then he kicked him in the balls twice, got 2 points taken. Kicked him in the balls 3 times, got 2 points taken. Almost got disqualified. And still won round 3 because he landed a clean-ish head kick, landed a good knee, and got a takedown. And Cody did nothing but dance and run. And they gave Cody a unanimous 28-27 decision. It was very weird. Long Zhao should have won this fight, even though he cheated a ton. And let me state, if a fighter throws up in the octagon, it's an automatic fight's over. But Herb decided it was Herb Dean's world, and we were just living in it. And I don't mind it. But Cody Garbrandt gets the victory. Good for Unk. I'm happy for him. I don't know. Not the best fight. I'll give this one a D- on actual fight, but I like the dumb stuff. So on the dumb meter, I'd give it like a B+. But like for the rating, D-. You'll forget it tomorrow. Start of the main card. Gotta get my Coke Zero in here, baby. Prelims, I give like a overall C-. I think there was the bad performances were really bad. And starting off the main card, here we go. RoboCop. He did exactly what Bruno did to him in the first time. Bruno was stalking. He was acting like he was the guy who won last fight. Boom, 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 boom. Robo throws a front kick. Goes, first punch that he throws fucking chins Bruno Ferreira on the ground, like Ruzaboyev. Just not even, like not one of those ones. It's like where his eyes are moving all crazy. Like it was a bad knockout, but a great way to start the main card after a bad back-to-back fights here. Not good. But this one was awesome. 1:47 into round one. Disgusting. Now, the fight that it sounds bad, but literally every time Drew Dober fights a man with melanin in his skin, he viciously knocks him out. And the reason I was actually very interested in this fight, other than the curse, the Dober curse, the line movement on this was crazy. At the start of the week, Drew Dober was a plus 165 underdog. At one point today, he was a minus 234 favorite. That's an absurd swing. Most books took all prop bets off at minimum. FanDuel took it off completely. BetMGM took it off completely. Drew Dober, Thomas Albano. Welcome. How are you feeling?
Beat up. Very beat up. Thank you for taking over, Jack, while I was dealing with that.
I was trying my best out here. We made it to Drew Dober here, but I think we want to go back and get your thoughts on these first couple and get back to the main card together.
Okay. I guess you were doing it. I was doing it a completely different order. That was planned.
My bad, brother. I didn't know there was an order.
I was gonna go top down.
We can go top down. We talked about the prelims here already. We got Dober and Obama out the way, and we got the top three fights.
All right.
So you start where you want to.
All right. Let me try to get back here, and let me get back to some quick overall thoughts of the card before we get into the thing. I will be blunt and honest. I was heavily disappointed by tonight.
Me too.
Very heavily disappointed by tonight. And it'll be part of my column for tomorrow for Deadspin. I thought CBS deserved a lot better. They got, I think, and I want to be careful.
They got the two best performances of the night, to be fair.
Okay. Wait, I want to be clear on it because the two knockout. Okay, but you had to go through a really.
You had to go through the two.
I try to have a filter. I'm not a really shitty Cody Brundage fight, a Cody Garbrandt fight where you had nut shots, and now let's imagine. Okay. To play advocate with that, yeah, the two best performances. But here's the sad part to that. So let's say there are people who are watching that CBS card, like the casuals, if you will. They then go over, they're like, okay, this is cool. I'm going to go to Paramount Plus. Rob Font versus Raul Rosas Jr., which was not good. Caio Bahaio versus Reinier de Ritter, which was all right. And then Max Holloway versus Charles Oliveira, which should have been one of the greatest fights of this year, one-sided domination. But listen, if you're a CBS casual watching that, you're like giving this a chance, you probably feel gypped.
It was definitely. I'll spoil it. I was live tweeting tonight while I was out and about. I gave this card an overall rating of a D minus. Worst card of the year.
I don't know if I would go that far. I would definitely at least go into a C. And I think, and it's a harsh grade, and I know Zan doesn't like it when I give out the harsh grades, but you have to consider the hype that was around the main event. And then you hyped everything about CBS. And then you put two finishes, two of the only four finishes of the night on the CBS, and two of the worst fights of the night on the CBS card.
See, my overall take, I was giving my grades throughout the card here, the prelims.
Yeah.
It was like I gave a lot of C's out, like a C or a B for Bellato Fernandez, C for Nergoze, C plus for Madarji, C minus for Tim Endembarel, almost a D plus for the cheating. Montez gets an A. It was a great performance. Even though Dante's my boy, had to give that like a D minus performance. And Cody Garbrandt versus Long Zhao, I also gave a D minus. And I think with the bad grades in the overall, like what was happening, my overall thoughts on the whole card together is that we were sold. The whole card was sold on the main event. It was the BMF. It was Charles versus Max. It was going to be the best of all time. And the UFC knew, and we knew, the rest of the card was okay. It was a fight night. So we were banking on the main event. And we were looking through the card, and it's like, okay, on paper before the event, it's like, okay, you know, Dober versus Johnson will be exciting, hopefully. You know, RDR will be exciting. RoboCop will be exciting, which they were. But then you get down here, it's like, oh, Cody Garbrandt's back in a terrible one. Dante Johnson's this up-and-coming finisher.
Actually, I just realized something, Jack, and to counter part of the two best performances. But there's going to be – but that Dober versus Johnson fight is definitely going to be it's got a little bit of a black cloud on it when you consider another betting controversy that's involving that fight.
I think, see, listen, here's my take on it. I think it was just the day of God spoke to the people and were like, listen, remember who Drew Dober is. Look at what color Michael Johnson is. It is simply fate.
What?
Are you unaware of the Drew Dober curse?
What?
Drew Dober fights white man. It's a tough fight. It has a dog fight, gets finished. The second Drew Dober fights a man with a little bit of melanin in his skin, he turns into Super Saiyan. Drew Dober starts knocking these fools out. He gets another one. Bang! Out cold.
I'm glad you at least gave it some context, because the way that you said it, if someone's watching this without the context, like, holy crap, Jack.
No. The people will know. The people will know. The Drew Dober curse is well. I've gotta educate Thomas Albino here.
Okay. No. I'm fine with it. I guess I'm just concerned because this is now two straight Michael Johnson fights where we've seen a big shift in the lines. And the first time that happened, the UFC actually pulled the fight.
Yeah,
and the way they were pacing on CBS, I thought they were gonna pull the fight mid-card.
Me too. The weird thing to me is that there's been 3 instances of this year, 4 if you consider Durden, but it was small enough where I can just see big money came in on Tim and Demparel. But 2 of the 3 were Michael Johnson, very and then better. We back? Can you hear me?
Yep, I got you.
It was a typical Michael Johnson performance where he was winning. And then all of a sudden, hey, call me Mystic Jack and look on Twitter. I said after round 1, I said 1-0 Johnson, but Drew Dober's setting up for a big left hand. Boom! Puts him out cold. Headlines the CBS. But my problem, too, is just like, after which were fun, Rosas, listen to these stats. 16 takedowns. 8 significant strikes, 0 submission attempts.
Yeah,
that's an F. That's an F performance.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. But that's part of my point is that you see two exciting knockouts, and you know there were people who were watching on CBS like, okay, you know what? I'll give it the chance, especially because they want to see what the White House card is. And so they give it the chance. And, on paper, it sounds like a good idea to show one of your big young prospects in Raul Rosas Jr., who, for better or for worse with this performance, is going to end up in the rankings next week. And
Probably
then
number 13.
And then, yeah, it wasn't a great fight. You know what? Let's do when you're ready. Let's do the prelims. If you started on prelims, because what fight did you go over?
So we've been over Bellato Fernandez all the way through Drew Dober. So we've gotten through a lot of it.
Okay, I'll try to be quick then. Hold on. I see Zan here, but I've
got, actually, speaking of Zan, before we do that.
Oh, yes. Did you saw the text message? Okay.
I have this for you. This is Zan's reaction of the evening.
Okay.
Hey, just doing a quick voice memo on UFC 326 that just wrapped up. Charles Oliveira defeats Max Holloway by unanimous decision to become the new BMF champion. A few thoughts that I have. First off, card super underwhelming. I'll get more into this tomorrow on Zinger, but super underwhelming card overall. A lot of decisions, but tied with the main event though. Charles Oliveira uses his dominant wrestling and jiu-jitsu to get the job done across 25 minutes. And Max Holloway in several submission attempts, just several times where he just couldn't get bucked off from Oliveira. Oliveira's strength and just durability was something else. And just overall, it was a very, very dominant performance. And it was one that I think, a lot of people are going to remember as, the moment where Oliveira fully returned to his 100% self. And it was one of those fights where you never knew what was going to happen until it happened. And Oliveira was one of those guys that did exactly that. When Holloway was just dominant overall. And I just thought overall it was a great performance for Oliveira. Lastly, on the White House card, we obviously had the major announcement. 6 fights, 2 I want to talk about. Main event, Ilya Taporti and Justin Gaethje. Decent fight, but not White House material, I don't think. I think Ilya Taporti wins that one, and I think he does so pretty convincingly. And then the co-headliner, Pereira versus Gane, for the interim heavyweight title. I think it's unfair to Pereira for him to fight for an interim heavyweight title after all he's done for the light heavyweight division. But the UFC was given the hand they were dealt. The fight, according to Helwani, that fell out Friday night, was not related to Jones or anything like that. So all extremely confusing, but overall kind of underwhelming. No Jones, no McGregor, no Islam Makhachev. It'll be interesting to see what happens with this card, but I will be talking about it. I will be writing it down on more streams to come. So with that, this is my little makeup, if you will, because of my technical concerns. But UFC 326 in the books, and I will see you guys soon for Dan Zinger Part 2. Cheers.
All right.
Bando, speaking the truth. We'll get to the White House in a little bit, but...
Yeah, let me quickly go through some of the prelims that you already had gone through. But Fernandez Bellato, I mean, that was a shocker to me. I thought Fernandez was, and it looked like it for the first minute, that it was going to be Fernandez just laying it into him, and Bellato was probably going to be cut from the UFC with a loss. And all of a sudden, I think the theme for a couple of the finishes tonight, maybe all the finishes, you ever hear that expression in sports like baseball, it only takes one? Well, it only takes one sometimes to really change some things, because it was a quick left hand. Like you couldn't see it on the broadcast. You saw it with the instant replay. Clunk right on the face of Fernandez, and he went down. Gotta give credit where it's due on that one. And like you said, the first 2 prelims of the night were pretty shocking. But I was still being hopeful. Dyer Nurgazai beating Rafael Tobias. I honestly thought Tobias was going to be dominant in this one. This one came a little bit as of a surprise to me.
I'll tell you, Thomas, both of these Fernandez and Tobias, but in my heart of hearts, I knew Fernandez wasn't ready, and Rodolfo Bellato was ready to win the Blockhead Olympics. And Rafael Tobias is dog shit. And Dayar Nagoze, if he just gets his ticking under control, he is a dangerous guy. And he was ticking less tonight. And the second I saw that, I went, uh-oh, I'm going 0-2.
I mean, I wasn't saying anything about him being like Tobias being like the next coming of MMA. Jesus.
I'm just saying, like, I feel like I knew he wasn't good, and I picked him anyways.
I was just concerned. Okay, now that I had my friggin' MMA news piece up because I was going through all the fights, just been that kind of freaking day, man. My concern was Nurgazai's defense. I know he stopped all the takedown offenses that came in his first couple of fights. I thought Tobias was going to present something a little bit different to him, but I'll give credit to Dyer. He actually stopped it. He actually prevented Tobias from doing anything strong, and he ended up being the one to get the win. The Summerjai Aguilar fight, honestly, I expected that. I expected a fight to go the distance. I didn't think Aguilar was the better kickboxer, and if this fight was going to be fought from range, it was going to be Sue's day, and that's pretty much what happened. Durden versus Tuman, I honestly thought Tuman was going to get the job done. I knew Tuman was going to win. I thought he was going to be able to get the finish over Cody Durden, and it was a little disappointing to see him not.
I was thinking Cody Durden was going to have a people forget man performance, but he did not.
Yeah. Let's see. Tercios versus Montez. I'm actually going to take a little victory lap with that one because in my 3 best bets piece for Deadspin, bet number 3 was Montez via submission, which was at about 2 on the day of Saturday. I believe it was about plus 250. I think the day before was plus 290. And I just said, I know Montez is going to use his grappling on this one. I don't think Tercios is going to be ready for that. And Montez used that. And I thought Montez was going to be able to get the submission off. It was either he was going to be able to get the submission off or the fight was going to go to a decision with him in complete grappling control. I bet on the money that he was going to get the submission. And thankfully, I was proven right on that one.
You were, and he looked good on the feet. I think he had a very good performance.
Yeah, as far as Tercios goes, I loved him on Tough, but I think this is the end of the line.
I agree. What did you think about Dante? Give it to me.
Dante Johnson versus Cody Brundage. I honestly thought that Dante Johnson was going to finish the fight in round 1.
I did too, but I scored it for Brundage 2-1 at the end of the third, and
yeah, this one, Dante Johnson's status as one to watch. Yeah, he's lost that.
As for me, I think he's going to be a one to watch. I think he was gifted a decision tonight. But as I hate saying fraud, but as the Twitter folks would say, Dante Johnson's on fraud watch.
Yeah, pretty much. I thought this was going to be one of those fights where it's like that WWE style jobber fight where you feed some no name to a guy you want to put a lot of stock into. And man, Dante Johnson actually took the stock that was given to him and he said, "No, thank you. You can have it back."
I know.
He was a shareholder, was given a gift, and he just said, "No, thank you."
It's killing me because, like I said, what I said earlier, I said he's got some real fat boy tendencies coming from another fat that he needs to fix. Like locking those legs out, that's a fat boy tendency. It's like, brother, you are in the 185 division now. You have to be an athlete. Bend those knees. Put those hands up. Start moving your goddamn head.
I can't hear that and just not think of Ronda Rousey's old coach. Head movement, head movement.
Head movement, head movement, head movement.
Wait, Zan, if you're watching this, that needs to be a sound effect.
But next up, we have Cody Garbrandt versus Long Zhao. I had this fight 28-27 Long Zhao. Also, some people, let me go on a little rant before you do.
Yeah.
Just 20 seconds. Some people are dumb as a box of rocks, man. These MMA bet guys, they go, "Oh, it should have been a draw. It should have been a draw." It's like, listen, buddy, I get how you can say it's a draw, but if you were watching that fight, in my opinion, it was 2-0 Zhao Long. Could have been 1-1. Didn't matter. In the third round, he has 2 points deducted. So let's say at best it's 2-2 or 3-1 Cody. Round 3 still has a point to be given. So no matter what, it can't be a draw. It would be as if it was 0-0 or 2-0. And people were like, that's just dumb. That's just dumb. And I think people need to learn basic math. If I put it into odds like -165 or +200, I think these dudes would start going, goo goo gaga, I understand now. But
well, here's my problem with what you said with it should have been a draw, and I'm actually on your side on this because, like,
it's just mathematically it can't be a draw.
Like but that's actually my point because there was something on the commentary. Rogan or Cormier was saying about it, but like, no, because it was 20-18, and then he lost 2 points because
technically it wasn't. Technically it wasn't.
That's the thing.
Cody winning ruins the scorecards, but yeah, for the sake of the argument,
no. Okay, let me check. Round 1. Okay, either way, round 2 was Long's round. Round 3, he gives 2 points away. The thing is, in MMA, when you give 2 points away, it's especially in the circumstances where if you do the math either 19-19 or you do the math 20-18, when you lose 2 points, there has to be a winner.
Yeah, if it's 19-19, it's like, okay, so a guy just went up 2.
Right.
Best case scenario, they're getting 1 back, or it's tie game, so it's 0-0, and 0 + 1 beats 0.
And then whoever wins round 3 wins.
Yeah. So people need to use their heads a little bit. 1 + 1 = 2. 0 + 1 = 1. These guys, man.
But as far as the fight itself, I mean, I understand your feelings on that Long should have gotten his hand raised.
I gotta my dog stuff. I'll be right back.
Okay, but the one thing I will say is I really feel like Long kinda did it to himself. I mean, you need a guy. You committed 2 fouls. Need a guy twice in the nuts. One of them to the point where you've got vomit coming out of him. Now, I'm going to have to take a look at the rules and maybe, and I only say that because in New York, because of our fun athletic commission, we have a rule where basically if you vomit or crap yourself in the Octagon, you lose the match automatically. It's ruled a TKO by loss of bowel control or something.
If you can hear me. That is a unified rule. If you shit yourself or puke, fight's over. But Herb Dean decided we were living in Herb's world. It was Herb Dean's world. We were just living in it. And he said, this fight's going on, people. Cody Garbrandt, literally, listen, poor Cody. I was live tweeting the event out.
He got the win. It's not poor Cody much.
No, I'm saying he gets soccer kicked in the dick. Okay, whatever. He takes it like a champ. Joe Rogan mentions a steel tie cup for the 503rd time.
And by the way, somebody on Twitter, one of our MMA media colleagues pointed it out. Yeah, there was somebody who once puked in the Octagon. It was UFC 102.
That's crazy. Cody gets in the bucket. Second one immediately following, like literally like a free kick to the nuts. Like literally makes him throw up. And then, like, 45 seconds later, after the fight starts again, he fucking knees him in the cock again. And Herb Dean starts
I think
losing his... Herb Dean lost his shit.
I think it was Chris Tashur, if I got the name right, who ended up puking at UFC 102. But either here or there. My point was, I love that Garbrandt seemed to get this new kind of energy. He was pretty pissed off at getting humiliated like that. I found that absolutely funny. But the point I was going to go to, like, I feel for you with the long play that he could have gotten his hand raised, and he could have, even with the 2-point deduction. But it's hard to not say he did it to himself because he committed those fouls. If he had committed one more foul, like he got near an eye poke at one point, it was going to be a disqualification. And the fact that he tried to do the Max Holloway thing the whole time, it's like, dude, go win the effing fight because you need the finish or you need the round at least.
It really made me upset that Cody got the 2 points and then started dancing the third round the whole time. It's like, brother, throw a fucking punch, man.
It really feels like neither guy ended up a winner on that one. Cody won on the scorecards, but one, the fight might get overturned to a no contest if John Long's team protests under the puke rule. And two, I don't know what this...
Nothing gets overturned. We know better, Thomas.
No, that's true. Oh, wait, it's Nevada. Yeah, that's true.
We know better.
And two, yeah, neither fighter, like, this doesn't do anything for anybody's stock, I think.
Yeah, it's just like Zhao Long loses another decision, Cody gets a win. Now, RoboCop getting a vicious KO. That was
okay, yeah.
What do you think about that one?
Uh-oh, hold on. Hold on. Do you have a breaking news banner on the show still?
Uh-oh, we did.
Okay, well, I'm just going to make one anyway, because apparently Zan is trying to deliver us some breaking news.
Breaking news.
Yeah, let me pull off the topology for just a second. Okay, several pieces of breaking news per our guy, Zan Bando. And it says, quote, a couple of things. Number one, the fight that... Oh, maybe he was giving me a recap of Dana's conference? Okay. The fight that fell out for the White House was, quote, not important. 2, Paramount has exceeded expectations. 3, Armin Sarukian is still in the doghouse for everything he did, and the RAF thing... turns out Armin was wrong. The UFC is very upset with him for what happened with the Polas thing.
Okay.
4, the UFC is talking to Conor McGregor. Not about the White House.
I figured for International Fight Week.
The signs seemed to be pointing to International Fight Week. And then number 5, John Jones, as of this moment, according to the UFC, is still effectively retired.
That's what I figured.
So at this point, we'll talk about the White House card in just a second, but at this point, all signs are now pointing essentially about why we have Aspinall versus Gane to the health and status still of Tommy Aspinall.
Not ideal, man. Not ideal for the heavyweight division.
No. Let me get back to there we go. Okay, let's get back to business here. Gregory Rodriguez, RoboCop. Yeah, I thought this was, for the first minute nobody threw anything, but I honestly thought that was good because RoboCop rushed in that last time against Bruno Ferreira, and that's what cost him in that fight. The fact that he had the discipline to wait, and then all he needed was one punch to get the knockout. I mean, that's just an impressive performance from RoboCop, man. And I thought Bruno Ferreira, I thought he and RoboCop were going to actually do a little bit of slugging. I thought the fight was going to get into the second round. But, man, whereas Cody versus Long was not a good performance for anybody, was not a stock riser. This was a stock riser. And RoboCop's stock was already on the rise, and now he just made it rise more.
Just avenged his worst loss besides Jordan Williams.
Yeah. So
it was a big one.
At this point, he's ready for another level of competition, I think. I think it's time for a little bit of a test in his next fight.
I agree. I would like to see him fight Roman Dolidze.
I'd like to see that fight too, and I think that would be a win. If I was to predict that fight now, I'd say RoboCop wins that.
Me too. I like it. Next up, we got Drew Dober versus Michael Johnson. Drew Dober commits another hate crime. That's my thoughts.
Right. Yeah. Look, I mean, I thought Michael Johnson. This was the one fight that I wasn't sure where it was going to go, besides the main event. And even then, the main event, I had more of a better feeling. I was wrong, but still a better feeling than what was going on with here, because it's like both guys have power, and we saw both guys show some power, but both guys are also capable of, to use the words of another MMA media member, have the rug pulled out from under them and just get knocked out in some ridiculous fashion, even when they're up on the cards. And Johnson, I thought, was in control, and then Dober, yeah. It's good to see Drew Dober get another win in the Octagon. I think he's one win away from 30 now.
Yep, 29-15.
So that's gotta be imagine getting to 30 wins in an MMA career is
Big
something.
Time.
Yeah, it's something. And
not only 30 wins in an MMA career, most finishes in lightweight history, and that was his 15th UFC victory.
Absolutely. He's probably going to go, he's probably going to end up in that same kind of class like an Uncle Chael or a Cowboy, where it's like dependable veteran.
Cowboy for sure, or maybe even like maybe him and Jim Miller.
Yeah, Jim Miller too. I think Jim Miller is even a better comparison. Popular athlete, longtime veteran, good guy to be around, solid name, still getting wins late in a career, but never a true title contender.
100%.
That's why I said I think Jim Miller, and honestly, since he's relevant, considering he got the win, I think it was last week, King Green, I think, would be in that class as well.
I like it. Next up, we got Chihuahuas versus Rob Font. F performance. You got my thoughts already.
Yeah, definitely not the greatest kind of fight. Oh God. Oh, the timer's on this one. Hold on. I don't know why the timer's active there. Raul Rosas Jr. Yeah, I mean, look, I know why they wanted to book Raul Rosas Jr. again. Rob Font, solid veteran. He's in that class of solid veteran, but obviously he's had his strings of losses. He's
been taken down 38 times in his last 6 fights.
Yeah, Rob Font's got that. You hate to say it, but Rob Font's got that gatekeeper status on him. And you put him with Raul Rosas Jr., who the UFC wants to see at the top. I mean, he got the win. The UFC's obviously going to try and strap the rocket to him, but this is not the fight to do it off of. I mean, remember, they tried to strap the rocket to Bo Nickel after a couple of fights. And then they said, oh, here's the former 2-division champion from one championship, Reinier de Ridder Jr. Reinier de Ridder, you're gonna end up doing well, right? And the UFC ended up eating a bunch of crow. And I'm worried, Jack, I'm worried that something similar might happen to Rosas Jr. because we've seen it from the UFC. Paige Van Zandt, Sage Northcutt. Do I have to keep going on with this?
I think the difference is Raul is good. He's proven to be good, but his biggest problem is he gets these takedowns and he gets this control time, and he doesn't strike or go for finishes. So I think more so against them, I think he's going to be treated in the long run much more like a Dagestani. Like, if you're boring and you win, they'll keep him around. If he starts losing, they're going to cut him pretty quick. But he's also like the UFC's golden child. I don't know. It's a weird one, man.
I know, and it's like the UFC has been looking for Mexican stars and Latin stars, and they have some, and they have some. But like last week, Brandon Moreno ended up beating an L, and it's like you have to question where his future is going to be because it's not going to be the upper echelon at flyweight, at least temporarily. Uh, and then they had the whole, no chick card where they were trying to get, spotlight some more of the Mexican talent that they do every year, but especially with the Sphere. And you think, even Daniel Zellhuber. Daniel Zellhuber had a strong perform. Daniel Zellhuber ended up having a strong performance, and he and Esteban Ribovic, ended up having that fight of the year fight. And you say, okay, Ribovic, not a bad performance, but that's Zellhuber. If he's able to hang with Ribovic and the two of them just traded, maybe something's going on there. And then you lose to Michael Johnson and King Green.
I agree. I think he's on a different echelon as those guys where they'll just lose to nobody. But I think it is one of those things where like
I guess my point. Sorry, Jack. I guess my point is that I'm just scared. I feel like the UFC is going to use this fight as the one to strap the rocket to Raul Rosas, and that's not it, Chief. It's not it. This wasn't
my thing is just like, let's say he's number 13 after this performance, right? Or 15 minimum. He's gonna get a ranked fighter next. Of 5 through 50 or 10 through 15, who does he beat? Montel Jackson, Kyler Phillips, Vinicius Oliveira, Peyton Talbot, Cheeto.
Vinicius Oliveira and Talbot, I think those two kill him. I think they do.
Like, do you think he could beat Cheeto? Because I can see them making that fight.
Honestly, yes. Stupid question, because I didn't get a chance to look at the rankings this week. Cheeto's still there?
He went from number 9 to number 10.
Hot take, I think he should have been unranked after his loss last week.
I agree, but because David Martinez was number 10.
And now that you say that, Jack, that's what they're going to do.
Raul Rosas is going to fight Cheeto Vera and become the number 10 feather bantamweight in the world.
Oh, my God, Jack. Yep.
And then from that point, after who will beat after that? Figgy or
but no, you're getting my point. But you're getting my point. Like, I agree with you. They're going to start to use some of those falling stars who are still ranked above him to get him the wins.
Doing the Sugar Sean special grappling style.
Mm-hmm. But
moving on to the co-main event a little bit. What did you think here? I think Rainier definitely looked not great. And I think Kaio did the typical, like, he'll look real good round 1 and then slow down.
Took round 2 off.
And then slow down more.
But the silly part is Kaio still won round 2 on all 3 judges' scorecards.
I thought it was 29-28. 30-27 was a little crazy.
Well, it's like what I told you. It's like what I told you, when I entered the stream. I thought it was, as the kids say, aight. It was aight.
It was closer to a 30-27 to Kaio than a split decision to Rainier.
Yeah, I thought it was a Kaio win. I don't know. Like, Kaio, it's definitely a win that Kaio can say, okay, the loss to Imavov was what it was, but I'm still here in the upper echelon at middleweight. I just think he's still a couple of fights away.
And I still think Strickland and Imavov beat him.
I agree.
Like, he's still cooked. I would like to see a Kaio versus Brendan Allen or DDP.
Well, he did call out DDP post-fight, and you know what? If I just said that he's only like a couple of fights away, like instead of just one fight away. If you want to turn that to a one fight away, what better thing to do but then beat the former champion?
That's the way to do it.
So I like it. And
next
then And then, look, it's not even a matter that Max didn't win because everyone who watched the show and knows me knows how much of a supporter of Max I've been for the longest time. And it's not even a matter of a bad bet because in my best bet speech for Deadspin, I said, ooh, DraftKings only has the fight at, the over-under at 2.5 rounds. Slap that over.
I knew a lot of people who picked the over.
But I think as much as I picked the over, I didn't expect this kind of fight. I didn't expect Charles Oliveira to ragdoll Max Holloway.
This was as close to cum shot versus DDP at UFC 319 that I think we might ever get again. But the difference is Khamzat landed 400 more strikes.
Yeah, and I think that's the frustrating part of it. Is that
it was an awesome performance. And
it's the curse of what the BMF is. Like,
but it's not what the BMF is exactly.
Like, if this was an interim lightweight title fight, what you end up saying is it a good fight? No, but I think everyone is singing. But everyone is singing the praises of the dominance of Charles Oliveira, and people still are. But when you put on this idea of the BMF and you're throwing in guys like George Masvidal and Nate Diaz and
Justin Gaethje and Dustin Poirier.
Right. There is an expectation. And now I want to be careful with this because I even said it in my fight previews that I've written for this fight. I thought it would have been stupid if Oliveira did 25 minutes of just trading with Max Holloway and abandoning his grappling. That would have been an easy way for Oliveira to get knocked out.
25 minutes of straight grappling.
But balance, yin and yang.
Yeah, it was an awesome performance. Great for Charles, but man, I hate seeing my favorite fighter of all time get done like that. And I really, it's hard to
look. Robert Griffin III, Max Holloway, and Charles Oliveira are both BMFs, but that fight was horrible for the fans. I couldn't have said it any better, Mr. RG3.
Agreed. Like it was just like it was disappointing for what it was supposed to be. The reason why I gave the card as an overall D-, which I'll ask for your grade, is that if we go through here. I'm giving Charles versus Max Holloway an F for the simple reason it was the BMF. If it was an interim title fight, I'd give it a C. Because it was for the BMF, I'd give it an F. And another reason why it gets an F is because this card was so heavily relying on this fight to hype it up that everybody knew the rest of the card was mid. Raul Rosas and Drew Dober on a big pay-per-view in the big 2-6. Like, it is... like I'd give this an F, I'd give this a C-, I'd give Raul an F, and I'll give Dober an A, I'll give Rodriguez an A, I'm giving Garbrandt a D-, I'm giving Dante a D-, I'm giving Montez an A, I'm giving Temin Dumbarell a C-, giving Sue a C+, Dyer a C, and Bellato a B. And with that, I don't care if it averages out to like a C or whatever. This card's getting D- overall for me, the worst card of the year, including fight nights. And yeah, if you take away the main event, regardless, this is like a bummy fight night. And then you give us a main event of two ranked guys who didn't necessarily need a title, where it would have been a banger fight night, and it would have been bummy.
Yeah, no, but like you said, and this is something I always talk about with Zan too, and this is something based on, that I brought into modern MMA that I took from the world of pro wrestling. Sometimes with those cards, you can live or die by your main event. If this card was what it was, but Max Holloway and Charles Oliveira delivered that fight of the year candidate that we all kind of expected going into this one, you can elevate what could have been a bad card to a B or C grade. Unfortunately, what happened here is that instead Max Holloway versus Charles Oliveira did not play into the BMF expectations and played into the rest of the card. which is a very big disappointment because why should we hear, Joe Rogan is calling out the casual fan base on commentary. And look, I understand it.
Why aren't these guys wearing tie steel cups?
And even Dana White mentions it at his press conference. I was just looking up his reaction. He said, I thought there would have been a lot more standing and trading, and I thought there would have been a little more takedown defense from Max, but I guess Dana White said, in the words of Herm Edwards, sorry, Nick and Nick, to bring up your Jets fame, you play to win the game. You play to win the game. Charles Oliveira. What?
It just was not good.
Right. Like, both can be true at the same time. And that's why I guess Helen Yee put out that tweet of, well, should the BMF have a special rule set then?
Maybe. Maximum of 2 minutes and 30 seconds of grappling per round.
Oh. See, would athletic commission, but would athletic commissions go for it? Would the UFC go for it?
The UFC can tell these guys, listen, at 2 minutes and 30 seconds of grappling, these motherfuckers are getting stood up. If not, you're never working for us again. Commission or not, they're getting in Herb and Mark Goddard's ear. They're like, you're doing this shit or you're never working another title fight.
Oh, please. Herb Dean and Dan Mergliotta still have jobs for some of the F-ups that they do. Herb Dean F's up on a weekly basis, it seems.
Yeah, it is something else. But moving on for the end of our show.
So let's
a little bit of UFC White House here.
Absolutely. Actually, hold on. Before we get to that, want to give a shout out to Joanna and Whaley for going into the UFC Hall of Fame, the greatest women's fight in MMA history, being moved into the fight wing of the Hall of Fame. Deserved. I don't even think I need to even say it's deserved because it's something given. Dana White even stated, back at UFC 248's post-fight press conference back in March of 2020, he said this fight will one day get inducted into the UFC Hall of Fame. And finally, those words come true tonight. So shout out to them. Joanna now, by the way, a two-time Hall of Famer because she was just individually inducted a couple of years ago.
No, but best women's fight of all time. I'm happy. I love Joanna Bay. And I love Zhang Wei Li, my communist Pookie. They're my favorites. If you were to tell me my two favorite women's fighters active or inactive in the last, let's say, 10 years, that's 1 and 2 right there. I love them to death. They're fun. That was a banger. Hey, and one of the few times the rematch lives up to the hype.
Note from Zan. Twitter is also freaking out over the fact that during the main event, the Paramount feed ended up dying.
That is correct. For the first half of round 3, the entirety of Paramount just shut off. Black screen for everybody. Nobody saw the first half of round 3. Not ideal.
Not ideal, and ultimately didn't end up to mean nothing. But man, if Oliveira got the finish, or even worse, if Max did a come from behind finish, well, that there would have been freaking rage and refund requests.
Hell to pay.
Yep.
No, it would have been insane. It would have been absolutely insane.
Because the expectation, and so far, I'll say, other than one time when the app needed updating, I've had a good experience with Paramount Plus. Already a much better experience than I've had with ESPN.
I'll give it. I need more time to make my decision.
I know, but I don't know about you, but I was one of those people who ESPN would frequently crash on.
See, mine is the second I leave my house, Paramount Plus decides to stop working every 3 minutes. And I think that is a problem I've been having, so I'm not loving that.
Oh, wow. Oh, my God.
What just happened?
I don't know about the tenure of Zan and Pat doing the show, or Zan and you doing the show, but this is the lowest grade I have ever seen Zan give a UFC card.
What did he give it?
He gave it a D+. Wow.
Harsh grading from Zambando.
But you know what? I'm gonna say either C- or D+. I think when you add in the B, like I said, Oliveira dominant decision. I shouldn't take anything away bad from that, but when you put in the BMF title and the expectations of that, the expectations of two of the baddest to ever do it in this sport, two great athletes right now. When you put in the expectation of we're going to introduce the White House card tonight, we're going to air a couple of fights on CBS, and you give CBS two crappy prelims and two finishes, I'll give it that, but one of them shrouded in another betting controversy. Like, it's been a couple of different betting controversies 4 months after you've had the freaking Isaac Dulgarian, which, by the way, all this fucking time, have we not learned from the James Krause crap from a few years ago? And then just everything else being so bad. It's like you add in all these different little changes in expectations. Like this, and I think this is why we're all agreeing on the low grades for this, because this card is not a normal card. Like, this is not a fight night. This is something that should have been better, and you hyped that was going to be great, and it wasn't.
It wasn't. And before we move on, I just want to tell Zan, the voice above, he's listening. I told you so. What did I told me and Zan have been arguing for the last couple of weeks. He's been saying the White House announcement was going to be the greatest promo of all time. And I said the White House announcement is going to be on Instagram or in the middle of a fight card. They're going to be like, and here are the White House fights. Look at them. That's it. Told you so, brother. They aren't trying anymore. We got some fights, good fights. If you want to move on to that, we have those pulled up.
Yeah, no, it's not a matter if it's bad. It's not a matter if it's bad, but and I kind of talked about this with Zan and Nick and Callan. You know, the UFC has 7.7 billion reasons why they don't need to get somebody to the level of Conor McGregor or Ronda Rousey or Brock Lesnar or John Jones ever again. They have 7.7 billion reasons why they don't need to do an over-the-top kind of special production with anything. They can coast, and they're coasting.
See, here's my opinion on this. This is the same exact reaction we got for UFC 300. Right?
Mm-hmm.
I think this is 10 times better than the initial announcement of UFC 300, not the prelims, because there's only 6 fights. But this is a good card. Like, I think people, listen, maybe I was just, my expectations were so low that when I saw this, I was like, damn, look at that. Where I thought this card was going to be Ilia Topuria versus Gaethje. Zan didn't love it. This has been the main event the moment Justin Gaethje won. We knew it. This is the main event. Pereira co-main, did not see that coming at all.
I was thinking if Topuria Gaethje was going to fall through, and it looked like for a time it was. I thought Pereira was going to end up the main event. And by the way, during the press conference, Dana White said, yeah, John Jones, not only is John Jones effectively still retired in the UFC's mind, but Dana White, what he said, like, I never really take Dana White on his word sometimes anymore because of, you know, how they try to hide things, and you know how he is. But this was one where he was true to his word. He said, I have no intention of John Jones, given his unreliability and the controversies, I have no intention of him to headline the White House. And
see, he says that, but if John Jones, I guarantee you, if John Jones was like, I'll do it.
Jones begged for it.
Yeah, but then Jones also is like, I've got arthritis. I'm never fighting again. So which is it, John?
Well, Jack, you know what they say. The one person who defeats John Jones, other than Matt Hamill, is John Jones.
You're right, but moving on a little bit, the co-main event I was pleasantly surprised with. I
Well,
did
yeah,
not.
and to anyone, I thought Rogan was silly for saying this about that there was a reason he didn't know the reason Pereira was vacating. Come on, come on.
We
I
all
think
knew. I just didn't expect it to be on the White House.
Nah, I kind of did, only because if Tapuria versus Gaethje wasn't going to happen, there were rumors about it not happening.
I was never in doubt about it.
Okay, fair enough. But I think the point is you need, even though the White House card is sort of gimmicky, but since they're treating it like any other numbered card, even though it's a different name, you need one of your big stars to be headlining that card. And right now, the three big stars at the UFC, the big three, are Ilya Tapuria, Islam Makhachev, and Alex Pereira.
And they got two of the three. I thought it was going to be something along the lines of Topuria Gaethje, a good main event. I was thinking Sphere, good main event, solid co-main event that ends up being kind of mid, and then a good feature fight. What we end up getting, we get a banger main event. No matter what you say, it's gonna be fun.
Mm-hmm.
The co-main event gonna be fun. O'Malley versus Sahabi.
By the way, sorry, Jack, sorry for interrupting. Not just going to be potentially fun, the co-main. I would say more a matter of we're going to see UFC history.
If he can win, yeah. And then O'Malley versus Sahabi, that one could be pretty stinky. I don't know, but O'Malley should win.
Well, if Sahabi beats O'Malley, I mean, that's you're going to have to give all the credit in the world to Sahabi because at that point
he's memed his way to the top.
Thanks. Good job, Ariel Helwani. You're working your way up. You're He's gonna destroy the UFC from the inside.
Ruffy versus Chandler. People are mad about it. Listen,
look.
This fight was always going to happen. This fight was always going to happen. After Ruffy won, we knew it was going to be Chandler. And another thing is like Michael Chandler. Hey, Chandler, you've been begging for Conor for the last 3 years. Guess what? You get Brazilian Conor. Get KO'd, buddy. Here you go.
Well, it's not even just that, but like all this waiting that you've been making him do and all the hoops you've been making, give him a bone. You give him a bone with the White House.
I agree. I like the top four fights of this card. Bo Nickel versus Kyle Dawkins. Listen, Bo Nickel was always going to be on this card. It is what it is.
Right, and we know why it's going to be Kyle Dawkins because Colby Covington doesn't want to fight him.
Exactly. I was like, Kyle Dawkins. I mean, we could have gotten a little bit of a better opponent. What are we doing here? But Kyle Dawkins gets an opportunity of a lifetime.
Hey, Kyle Dawkins has had a hell of a run in his comeback.
Yeah, but like, come on.
I know what's going on here. Jack, I'm not dumb. They're going to use him. They're going to use him for Bo Nickel.
Champion versus top contender. Former champ versus top contender. Title challenger versus top contender. Bo Nickel versus Kyle Dawkins. Title challenger.
No, I just told you what it is. It's the jobber situation. They're going to use Kyle Dawkins to get another Bo Nickel win. They're really trying to rebuild Bo Nickel's whole aura after he lost to RDR last year.
And the opener of this, now listen, here's my take. Diego Lopez or Steve Garcia, Jason House would hit us with the Iridium special. We got number 2 versus number 9. Also, we should have known better. Big Kirky and Steve Garcia were besties. We should have known genuinely Steve Garcia was going to be on the White House card, and he gets a huge step up versus Diego Lopez in a war. So, like, Diego Lopez versus Steve Garcia, banger. Huffy versus Chandler, banger. O'Malley versus Sahabi, we'll see. Pereira versus Gane, banger. Topuria versus Gaethje, banger. Nickel versus Dawkins, American. Starts at 7 p.m. Central Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Time on a Sunday night. I think it'll be a good time.
Yeah, no, I have good expectations for this card.
I'm very excited, but that's really my takes. That's really all I got for tonight, Mr. Tom.
Yeah, that's all I got too. Thank you so much, Jack, for getting things started after all that.
Had a
I
rough
don't think
night
I've
and a
ever
rough
gone.
day.
I don't think I've ever gone through a freaking day where some personal crap happened before. The website that I work for crashes in the middle of the card when the White House card is announced and stays down for
Unfortunate.
20 minutes. That I have to chase that back. I rush up here and then a freaking green screen falls on me.
Before we end it, we do have Drew Dober addressing the fixed fight rumors. If you want to hear that.
Okay, let me hear it.
Here, let's see.
And then obviously you're probably going to get a ton of questions about this. There was a lot circulating online before this fight. Did anyone notify you before the fight? Did anyone come into the locker room, or are you just finding out about this, now?
I literally just found out about this like 2 interviews ago. Like, I'm just finding out about it now. I don't bet, I don't gamble, and so I know nothing about it. So this is all news to me. And nobody came up to me in the locker room. We didn't talk about it. It was never a thing until, we just now we're talking about it with you.
Is that weird being on the other end of something like that?
To be honest, like I haven't even really thought about it. Like I have no idea what's going on, and people are asking me questions, and like I don't even know what happened.
And that
I mean, that kind of response, plus the second straight time something's happened with Michael Johnson's fights, not good for MJ.
To Drew Dober's credit, typically fixed fights, the winner doesn't know.
Yeah.
They got to make him win.
Absolutely. And no, but I'm just saying, with MJ, 2 fights where there's some
both get flags, not the best.
Yeah, and getting knocked out brutally in one of them, regardless. Yeah, not a good look for MJ. I don't think it's going to get to this point, maybe based on that response, but now if something comes up again,
it's cooked.
I don't think the UFC has any choice, but they're gonna have to release Michael Johnson.
I agree, but man,
if that happens, the PFL is going to immediately scoop him up.
I agree. PFL wants those hands, but I think that does it for the MMA Outsiders. I'm Jack Gold. Thomas, you ended out for us, buddy.
That's Jack. I'm Tom. Thank you all for tuning in. Hopefully, I will have some better luck when it comes to the next time. I'll have the pleasure to be with all of you for a UFC pay-per-view or numbered card post-fight show, which will be on April 11th, like they've been promoting all freaking night in Miami. With the main event being a new light heavyweight champion will be crowned as Alex Pereira moves up to heavyweight. So either Carlos Olberg is going to taste the light heavyweight gold for the first time, or Yuri Prohaska, the Warrior, is going to reclaim his championship that he technically never lost in the Octagon, although you could say he technically did lose it because he lost to Pereira twice, but that's neither here or there. And Joshua Van makes his first flyweight title defense against Tatsuro Taira. And, maybe this is just a matter of just the division continuing on until Pantoja finally gets the clearance and gets ready to come back for try to get a little bit of revenge. But that'll be all for next month. Watch Jack and Zan this coming week on Thursday for the next edition of the MMA Outsiders, where we'll break it all down again for UFC 326 and preview the UFC March edition of UFC Apex. All right, but that's Jack up top. Thank you again to Jack for starting things off while I was trying to get everything set. See you next time, everybody. Take care.
Good night, folks.